teachers, and education professionals. If you want to start your own business, check out this episode of the Be Your Own Boss podcast. In this episode, we hear from Ronald Olivera, the founder of Zillion Pathways, a coaching institute in Dubai that helps students achieve their full potential. Ronald shares with us his life journey and how he overcame all those struggles and founded Zillion Pathways. Join me in this conversation with Ronald and see how you can start your own business too. Welcome to another episode of Be Your Own Boss. Our guest this week is Ronald Olivera. Ronald is the founder and the CEO of Zillion Pathways Coaching Institute, Dubai, which nurtures and grooms young adults. Ronald is a motivational speaker, career assessment specialist, career coach, and keynote speaker. International award winner in public speaking. And Ronald has coached more than 2,000 young adults and corporate employees in the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and India. And he has helped them improve their public speaking skills and leadership skills. And on the personal front, Ronald was born in Padukone. If you know Deepika Padukone is from that same place where Ronald is from. And after that, he was raised in Mangalore. So most of his life, in early life, he has lived in Mangalore. And his father was a coppersmith and a mother a homemaker. So let's hear from him about his journey. Ronald, thank you so much for taking out time and joining us here on the Be Your Own Boss podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you for having me here.
So let's start with your story, your journey, right from your childhood, growing up in Mangalore. Tell us about that part of your childhood. How was the environment like at home?
As you mentioned in the initial introduction, yeah, my dad was a coppersmith. He used to work in Mysore, and he helped my mom to raise 8 kids, which is not a joke, obviously. My mother was a very, very hardworking homemaker. Uh, she really raised all of us, especially, I mean, among the 8 siblings, Sachin, I am the youngest one. So I haven't seen that many hard days, to be honest. So if I have to listen to the stories of my three elder brothers and elder sister, four of them, they have probably struggled a lot. I mean, again, we were not from a very poor background, but I would say those days it was lower middle class. And then we four, my sister and other two brothers and myself, we were quite okay because by then my other three brothers were well settled by the grace of God. My eldest brother was a banker. Then the next brother was working for Sperry Vickers. Then the third brother was in Saudi Aramco. So that way we were financially quite well to do, and that is how I did not have any problem, and so were my two other elder brothers and sister. But overall, yes, it was a very God-fearing, very loving family. I'm very proud to be a part of this family.
Wonderful. So, growing up when you were in school and in your early college days, did you have aspirations back then that one day you want to grow up and start your own business? Did you think of that?
Uh, Sachin, you mentioned the name Padukone. I mean, because of Deepika or Prakash Padukone or so many others, which I will come to, uh, that's not a big place. It is a small village, small, but I could not ask for a better place to be born. Very loving people. And Padukone actually is a name of a village. It's a remote village, I would say. Okay. And Deepika was not born in Padukone. I was told Deepika's grandfather, Ramesh Padukone, was born in Padukone. And Deepika's dad, Prakash Padukone, was born in Bangalore, if I am not mistaken, and so was Deepika. But because they had their roots there, they took that name Padukone, and that continued. But yes, we are very proud to say that they are from Padukone. And probably you are missing another great personality who was born in Padukone. If you have heard of a very popular film director, actor, producer, Guru Dutt. Yes, Guru Dutt is from Padukone. If you see his name is Vasant Kumar Shiv Shankar Padukone. Okay, he was from Padukone as well. So it's a
Wow.
very famous village, to be honest. So
Yeah. And my wife is also from the neighboring village from Padukone. I mean, her village is so close to Padukone that the church bell at Padukone, we hear it in my wife's house there.
oh,
It's
where
so
is it?
close.
What is the name of the village?
Senapur.
Oh, really? Okay. Ah, that's a
Yes.
historical place. Yeah, this falls under our we call it Gram Panchayat. It's the same Gram Panchayat, Senapur. Yeah, I know this very well.
Yeah, and it is a beautiful, beautiful place. River close by, the sea is close by, and greenery. It's a beautiful place.
Yes, indeed.
So you did not have that, the aspirations, or you didn't think that you one day you will become a businessman like you have become today, right?
Yeah, Sachin,
Back then.
sorry, I missed that point because I was so excited when you talked about Padukone and Deepika, and also sorry about that. So, actually, honestly, I didn't have any aspirations. To be honest with you, I started my education in a very small school called Government Lower Primary School, Padukone, Hadavu, where we had one teacher for four classes. First to fourth grade, we had one teacher, wonderful teacher. That is where my foundation. His name was Narasimha sir. Excellent teacher. I will never forget him. That is where my foundation. First to third grade, I studied there, and then we moved to another location, which is very close to Saint Anthony's Church, Padukone, where I went to Saint Anthony's Lower Primary School for fourth grade, where again I had a wonderful teachers. My headmaster was Nagapai Hebbar. I still remember such a disciplined person, great in mathematics. And then we had teachers like Irene teachers and Stanley sir, uh, so many. And then I came to St. Anthony's Higher Primary School, where we had Bethany nuns, like great education. I still remember three nuns who were my role models: Sister Helen Mary, Sister Cecilia Mendonça, and late Sister Vincetta. And then we had a priest who was completely involved with students, Father Richard Saldana. They all actually brought that enthusiasm in me. And then I went to Gregory High School, Padukone, Nada, where again we had excellent teachers, headmasters, Sir Philip Gracious. Then we had a mathematics teacher, Xavier D'Souza. We had Shankar Shetty sir. We had Masta Manawar sir. That was the Jacinta teacher, and all they really molded me. And I just thought that I somehow, because of these wonderful teachers, I felt that there is something in store for me, but I was not someone who had aimed for something. And again, luckily, I got a seat in St. Aloysius College, which is one of the best in the world. That is what I would say. I did my 11th and 12th there, and then I came to Kundapur, my native place, which is close to Padukone, where again I was waiting for a medical seat. So I thought, okay, let me just go and join any college. So that is how I joined Bandakas College, where our principal was Professor Narayan Acharya, another great mathematician. So, and I thought I would continue here. And again, incidentally, I did not get a merit seat in medical. So I continued in Bandakas College, and that was again a turning point. We had wonderful teachers there. I am still in touch with some of them. Uh, Great faculty. Then I again went to do my master's in chemistry in Mangala Gangotri in Mangalore University. Once again, I was so lucky to have the professor like Professor Gajendragar, Professor Timme Gowda, Professor Serigar, Professor Holla. I remember all of them, but lack of time, I will not mention. But they are in my heart still. They molded my career.
Wow. You remember all the names of all the teachers, and it's so, so wonderful that, that shows the passion, the connection that you had, right from childhood, right? And the impact they had on your, molding you on your career, right? On you as a personality.
100%. I owe a lot to them, as well as, of course, my family, my parents, my siblings. They really supported me a lot. But yes, teachers played a very, very big role in my life.
Yeah. So you started in your, I mean, you wanted to go to medical, but then you decided that you're going to continue here with the studies. So what kind of studies was that? Uh, I mean, what did you do your graduation in, and further studies?
Yes, I did my graduation since I was a PCMB student, physics, chemistry, maths, biology in St. Aloysius College. Again, I got some wonderful professors, Professor Sripati Rao, Eric Patrao, then physics, Joseph Saldana, and Richard Pice, all these sirs. I am not using Mr. and all, but yes, I have a very high regard for all of them. So it was PCMB, and then when I came to Bandakas, I took physics, chemistry, and mathematics. Obviously, mathematics because we had Professor Narayan Acharya, wonderful. He's still there, and of course, I tried to meet him this time. I could not. I think he is almost nearing 90, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. Then I took physics, chemistry, mathematics, and after my BSc, I just wanted to fly to Bombay, and I was eager to take up my career. And if I have done my masters, all credit goes to Professor Narayan Acharya. He made it a point that if I remember correctly, he had told in the office that if I came to take the transfer certificate or marks card, okay, please send him to my home because he had a home just behind the college. So he made sure that I went and met him. And when I met him, he said, "Nothing doing, you are going to do your master's in mathematics." And I was good in mathematics, to be very honest. But I said, "Sir, no, no, I want to go to Bombay." He said, "Nothing doing, Mr. Olivera, you are doing mathematics." And he picked up the phone and he called the HOD of Mangalore University. And he said, "I'm sending a student, a nice student for mathematics." So he is doing. Then I said, "Sir, I'm not doing masters in the first place. If at all I'm doing mathematics, this one masters, probably not in mathematics." And he was really not happy when I said that. The reason was, again, Sachin, we did not have a proper career guidance those days. We used to do in whatever somebody said, you do it, we did. Even doing medicine was not my preference. Somebody said, you become a doctor, and I said, okay, I will become a doctor. It was something like that those days. That is one of the reasons why today I do this career guidance, because today we have scientific methods for helping the children what kind of fields best suit them for their innate skills. It is not only the interest, there are more things. So here I only finally I won the battle against Professor Acharya. I said, only to respect you, I will do my masters, but I will not do in mathematics. Please allow me. I will do it in chemistry because that was another very interesting subject for me. That is how I ended up doing my masters. Full credit to Professor Acharya. So I did in
Wow.
physical. Again, there again the choice was like when in the first year we have general chemistry, organic, inorganic, and physical. Then we had to select one of these three as specialization. Again, Professor Timegowda was so impressed with my ability in physical chemistry. He literally insisted you have to do physical chemistry again. All right. So I wanted to do in organic chemistry, to be very honest with you. Again, Professor Timegowda was so very close to me, and since he insisted, I said, okay, I will do physical chemistry, and I don't have any regrets. Again, he
Yeah.
wanted me to do PhD under him. Recently, he got retired as a vice chancellor of Bangalore University, Professor Thimmegowda. Excellent professor in chemistry. So that is
Yeah.
how I ended up. I did my master's in physical chemistry.
And I really wish and hope that this episode reaches your teachers, reaches Professor Acharya, and all the teachers that you've mentioned here, because they will be so proud to see you, and you sharing your journey, your story here, and it'll be really wonderful that if they can listen to the story.
Thank you.
So once you finished your masters and then you entered into your career, right? Your jobs. So tell us about that. What kind of job did you take up? How did that work?
Yeah, I came to Bombay. I had two brothers there. I stayed with my second brother Patrick, and my sister-in-law was working for Park Davis. So I thought the best chance for me to get into a pharmaceutical industry, and that sister-in-law really put my CV everywhere, probably all the pharmaceutical industries in Mumbai. And I was thinking I would get a red carpet welcome in Mumbai and get a job. Probably I will have to choose jobs from 100 different companies who would be, competing to have me in their organization. But that was absolutely not true. 3 months I did not get a job with all that influence my sister-in-law and rest of my relatives had. And then finally I got into a company called Alarsin, where I worked for only 1 month. And then incidentally, my brother had a friend who was from our village Padukon. He was
Hmm.
working for Dabur Pharmaceuticals, a well-known company in Ayurvedic, but they had started a pharmaceutical division. And my brother spoke to him, and this person, his name is Francis Olivera. He was my boss. He was my second boss, but since other company I worked for only 1 month, so I would still consider he was my first boss. But he was never like a boss to me, though he was very strict. But he was a true teacher for me, Mr. Francis Olivera. He called me for an interview. He selected me in first 5 minutes, and he told me, "You are selected as a medical representative, and you are going to Rajkot." And I did not have the courage to ask him, "Where is Rajkot?" Honestly, I did not know where Rajkot was. Okay, I said, "Okay, sir." And I came and I told my brother, "I have been selected, and I would be going to Rajkot." My brother looked at me. "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, but which state is it?" I asked my brother. So he said, "I think it is in Gujarat." So we did not have Google back then. So then my brother asked Mr. Francis, "Can you get him a job here in Mumbai, because he has just come from Mangalore, he doesn't know much." So I still remember the words of Mr. Francis Oliveira. He said, "Patrick, please remove him from your shadow. He should not be under your shadow. Allow him to grow, and he will grow, and someday he will become a big man, and he will show all of you. And that is possible only if you let him go and make his own career." And those were the words which are still resonating in my mind. And I went to Rajkot next day. I caught a bus, went to Rajkot. That is how my career started, Sachin. Thanks to Mr. Francis Oliveira, I'm still very close to him. I meet him whenever there is a possibility.
Wow, very important, words, right? He said, if only when you get out of that shelter and the shadow, you can go out and spread your wings and fly. So you moved to Rajkot from Mumbai to Rajkot, and you started your career as the medical representative in Rajkot, right?
Yes.
Right. And how was that life in Rajkot?
That was a very exciting life. It was a new, totally a new field for me, but I enjoyed that. And within 1.5 years, I made my own name within the company and also among the competitors. I mean, without mentioning the name of one of the international giants, uh, sales manager literally flew from Bombay to Rajkot only to meet me and give me an offer in his company, because my name was there in Rajkot, Jamnagar, Gondal, where I was covering these places, because there were a couple of products which I really made sure that we literally killed the competition who were the brand in the OTC or on the counter. This one, a cough syrup. So we completely replaced that with Oriza, which was our product. So because of that, I got an offer. And also in Dabur itself, we had a written test. They had a policy of internal promotions, and I got selected till the final interview. And as per the sources, reliable sources, I was supposed to be promoted to the area sales executive. So these were two opportunities I had. In the meantime, I got an offer from Aramco, world's number one oil company, to work there. I got a telegram from their then agent McKinnon and McKenzie to come straight for the medical, and I was surprised because I had not applied. The CV was given by my brother, Okay, I did not even know my brother was working in Aramco, to the lab R&D center where some of his friends were there, and my CV was selected. And without the interview, somebody saw my CV. They were quite excited about it, with master's degree and all. I got a chance to work in Saudi Aramco without an interview. Okay, and then okay, I had to make a choice between these three options. Then with great difficulty, I decided to go to Aramco and had to say no to other two jobs which were at my hand. So that is how I
Yeah.
landed in Saudi Arabia.
And what year was this when you
This
landed in
was in
Saudi?
1992, April.
92. So that was your entry into the Middle East market here.
That's
You
correct.
started your, yeah, yeah. And then, so how long were you there in Saudi, in Aramco?
Yeah, I was in Aramco for 5 good years. Really wonderful company to work with. And one of the best things that happened was I joined the Toastmasters in 1992 itself, because Aramco Toastmasters was one of the oldest, probably the second Toastmaster club in the entire Middle East after Manama Toastmasters. So anyway, I did not join Aramco Toastmasters for some reasons. I joined a Toastmaster club outside Aramco called Oasis Toastmasters, and then in 1993, I won the first place in humorous speech contest in Bahrain, which was a kind of Gulf regional competition. I am still very proud of that award, though I have won several awards later. And then
Yeah.
I joined Aramco Toastmasters, so I was a dual member. So this is what happened, and my supervisor, superintendent, they recognized my talent as a trainer, as a public speaker. They utilized my services to help the young locals, the Saudis and all. When they came from the university, when they come to Lab R&D Center, I was the first point contact for them, to teach them the basics of chemistry and also the basics of presentation skills and all those things. So I really enjoyed working in Saudi Aramco, and then 5 years award I got. That was my kind of aim to get 5 years award. And when I got that award, I resigned from my job. Not that I did not enjoy. I decided to resign because I thought I should be in sales and marketing because of my public speaking skills. So I thought I would be better off coming out. But it was not easy to resign from a company like Aramco. And everyone who knew that I resigned from Aramco said or felt that I was a fool. Because even my brother said, "You must be a real fool. Millions of people would like to enter into Aramco and you are resigning from Aramco." And my answer to them, I have no intention to buy Aramco. Yeah, I enjoyed being in world number one company, but now I am going to look for a greener pasture where my education and my expertise will be recognized much more than what was recognized by Aramco. Of course, again, I have no regrets. I have recognized some of my supervisors and friends are still. I am in touch with them, so they have really helped me a lot.
So, Ronnie, bhai, when you resigned from Aramco, did you have something at hand already at that time?
Yes, in fact, I had two jobs in hand. Both were in Saudi Arabia itself. I had two jobs in sales and marketing. So that was the reason I confidently I could offer my. But the challenge was Aramco, especially our R&D center, would never give a NOC, no objection certificate, without which you could not work in the same country. Okay, and again, one of my friends who was my big boss, okay, he went out of the way to give me even NOC. So this is all the connections, not only connections. He was such a wonderful person, and I'm not in touch with him today. He is one of the top officers in Saudi Aramco, and he was the one who gave me NOC. He tried his best to convince me to stay back, and I told him only two things: I have decided to quit. If you allow me to work in Saudi Arabia, I would continue to support whatever I have been supporting to the people here in Aramco. If you don't give me an OC, I will go back to my country. This was my last word to him. And when he heard that, he said, I would rather have you here. So I would give you the NOC. So probably I was the only one who got an NOC after resignation. if they if you lose the job, probably Aramco would still give NOC. But after
Yeah.
resignation, probably I was the only one. That's what at least I was told. I don't know now.
Wow. So you transitioned from Aramco to a sales and marketing job in Saudi. You were
In
still in
Saudi,
Saudi.
yes. I joined a company called Abdul Rahman Al Gosaivi. I work for an American company called Perkin Elmer. And to get through quickly, and then from there, I joined another competitor. Sorry, not competitor really. I worked for a company called Abdul Karim Holdings in Saudi Arabia. That company is still very, very dear to me. Abdul Karim Holding, the owner, Mr. Khalid Abdul Karim, wonderful person, a true businessman. I'm still in touch with him for your information. And I had an immediate boss who is again a successful businessman today, Fuad Al Karam. Okay, he started his career those days. He came from a engineering background, and he started very, very hard working gentleman. And he understood the business. Probably he was groomed under Khalid sir. That's the reason he could. I mean, these two gentlemen, Fuad Al Karam and Khalid Abdul Karim, these are the two people I have seen hardworking, and they understood how to do business. I'm still in touch with both of them. So I worked with Khalid Abdul Karim. I worked with another company called Gulf Bioanalytical in Dubai as well. So these are all same similar fields for various reasons. By the way, everywhere I have resigned from the companies. Nobody has thrown me out. From the job, to be honest with you, and it was mostly golden handshake. I had left and joined another company for a particular reason. Every time there was a reason, so it is either to bridge to just to bridge between the two companies. I resigned from one company and joined other company. There was some reason, so the previous company always supported me to go and join them so that I could still be a bridge between these two companies. This is what happened, so I'm very proud of what happened. And then my last job I did was in Parker Hannifin Corporation, Parker Middle East, which is again one of the biggest companies in the world. Those days it was 13 billion or $15 billion company in motion and control technology. Parker was one of the biggest in the world. I worked with them for 8 years. There I joined another company where it did not go very well. So that is the time I thought I would start my own business. So that was sometime
Yeah.
in 2016 or 15, something like that. So that
Right.
is where I thought I would start my own business.
Yeah. So by this time, you had been working in the Middle East for over a couple of decades, right?
Yes.
And all these experiences that you had, your professional experience was more in sales and marketing and in different fields. Uh, how did you come up with this idea of Zillion Pathways, and how did that thought came into mind?
Okay, I mean, I was always in oil and gas industry. I was in instrumentation or lab equipment or something, but it was somewhat related to oil and gas industry or the hospital. So, like gas chromatograph, atomic absorption, these kind of equipment would go into even hospitals and all. It was a similar industry. But then, because of my Toastmasters connections, I took up like it was like a passion for me to go and give speeches wherever there was a possibility. So I started doing youth leadership programs and communication workshops and things like that. So, and I started giving speeches in universities, colleges in India, and schools. So where I did that, many of the principals and some of the teachers and the management, they told me, you are a good speaker, so why don't you take it as a, because probably today's young generation require you more than the oil and gas industry. One principal I still is a very close friend of mine. He told me, I think there are a lot of people in oil and gas industry, probably person like you is required more to train the young adults. So that is when I thought, okay, let me convert this into a profession, the public speaking skills as a profession. And again, generally when we give speeches in the universities, colleges, we don't charge anything. It is like a hobby or a social service kind of thing. So what I thought was, when I have so much connections, it is better to extend that connections and help the young children to improve whatever they require. One is obviously communication and leadership skills. In addition to that, much more. That is what we are doing in Zillion Pathways. If you are more keen to know about it, I will explain definitely what we do in.
Yeah, definitely. We'll come to the Zillion Pathways in a moment, and we'd like to hear more about that. But let's talk about that transition for a moment here, when you were working and you decided that you're gonna quit your job and start a business, or did you start parallelly on the side? Tell us about that, the phase of that transition when you established your company and started Zillion
Fine.
Pathways.
Such a very interesting question. Yeah, generally, many people had advised me, okay, while you're working, if you want to become an entrepreneur, while working, you set up a company side by side, so that once you have taken off that company, then that is a good time to resign. I was someone, I have Aramco background, right? So, where we were clearly told you should not be doing anything which is contradicting what you are doing correctly. And I think it is fair. Like, you can't do a similar business. That's my ethics. You can't do a similar business while you are still working for a company. It was totally against my ethics. However, I had started a company not for myself. I started it for one of my friends actually, and it is more of a gift trading company than it became an advertising company. So it was running on its own, and luckily I had no issues with the finance and all. I was keeping on pumping the money. It was running, but I was not really taking good care of the finances and all those things, probably, or probably I did not have the right people, or if I had the right people, probably I did not make sure that they are on the right path. For whatever reason, I take all the blame today. I don't want to blame anyone for that. It was a total mess. Okay, and I lost heavily in that advertising company. That was one drawback. Since you are talking about the entrepreneurship, yes, I had started that company while I was still employed, but it had nothing to do with the job I was doing. Absolutely different field. And honestly, I did not utilize my company's time here. That's the reason I could not do good business there, because I was only after my working hours. I probably once in a week I used to visit this company and all, just wanted to make sure everything on superficially everything looked okay. So that's the reason. Whatever loss I incurred, I blame myself. Don't blame anyone. I have not troubled anyone also. Just didn't even close that business. I gave that business to the person who was in a way responsible for all this mess. So that is the old story. So I just want to forget. That is my failure as an entrepreneur. Okay, and I have learned a lesson. The lesson I learned, Sachin: never start a business which you don't understand. Right, this business I did not understand. I started that business for one of my friends because he was looking for a job, and then I thought, okay, he's not finding a job because of his age factor. So I thought, okay, let him handle this one, because I thought that was the easiest thing for him to do. Okay, then once he also slowly lost his interest, I told him, if you have something better things, you go ahead and continue that. And that is what happened. But I was like a, I won't say it is an ego or something. But I thought, since I have started the company, I would as well continue. But what I did not do right was,
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short break. You're listening to the Be Your Own Boss podcast. By the way, if you find this podcast useful, please share it with your friends and family so that someone somewhere having the potential and the dream to start a business can get some help and some inspiration from this. And if you'd like to support me so that I can bring in more content, please subscribe to the show wherever you're listening to right now. And you can also send me your feedback on byob@sachinacharya.com. That's byob@sachinacharya.com. And now, back to the show.
I won't say it is a ego or something. But I thought since I have started the company, I would as well continue. But what I did not do right was I did not even try to understand that business. One first mistake, I started a business which I knew nothing of. Secondly, I did not even take any interest to understand that business. I 100% trusted the people who came and told they were experts, and I believed they were experts. I was believing completely what they said, and till everything was a big hole, I did not realize that I was in a ditch. Okay, these are the things which I learned. So, those who want to start the business, this is a lesson.
Thanks for sharing that, Ronnie, bhai, because that this is very, very important. The lesson that we learn from our, the
Failures.
misadventures, right, which are the failures, and this helps. They helped you, and it helps the listeners. Right? And
Yes.
the most key lesson here is to don't get into a business if you don't know about that business fully, right? And so looks like then you took the path of completely resigning and then starting Zillion Pathways because you didn't want to do that work on simultaneously on both the things at the
Yes,
same time, right?
exactly. Yes. Yes. So that's what I mean. When I completely thought I would become an entrepreneur, so I started a company in Abu Dhabi in the same field where I was not on anybody's payroll, obviously. So I started it, and it was going quite well. And that is when I started Zillion Pathways because of the background I told you. The principals and other educationists, they thought I should start something which would help the young adults. So I started, and I found that I was enjoying this more. I was not only enjoying this more, the children who were joining our institute, they were also feeling that we are a company with a difference. And when I saw that children are enjoying, parents are happy, I am enjoying. It was now it is not no longer my just hobby; it is my profession as well. When that happened, I thought again I should not be in two different places. Like I have this coaching institute, then I have a company, Eminent Technologies, which was my company in Abu Dhabi. Then I decided to sell the stake of that company. So it wasn't that easy, not a good time. But then finally, I sold that company to someone who was a little known to me, but I felt he was the right person to continue that business. So I completely sold that. I am no longer associated with that company, and I'm 100% in Zillion Pathways, and that is the only business I have. I wouldn't even call it a business. So, but the reality is, education is also a business. Let's accept it. And when you are, you can't be an NGO all the time. Like you need money, and if you really have to give proper education for children, you definitely require money. And I am not saying that I am doing it for free. It's an institute.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is fair that because education is a business and it does provide employment and it does create that it is a business and businesses are important for the economy. Now let's talk about that the financial aspect of it here as well because a lot of employees who aspire to start a business struggle with this one question that if I quit my job I will stop getting my salary every month, and we need to run the family as well, right? So in your case, how did you manage that?
It's a very tricky situation. It is something like egg first or hen first scenario, whether you should quit the job and start something or start something simultaneously. For someone like me, I made it very clear I was not someone who would start something similar and then start. So obviously, I completely quit the job and I started in the same field. But anyway, this is anyway entirely different field. It doesn't hurt anyone whom I worked before. But yes, it does make an impact. By the way, we are Zillion Pathways. We are having a very good team of corporate trainers. So I am now eyeing for those companies where I worked before. Probably our team would go and coach the employees of these companies. That is obviously in my plan. So that way, yes, I would be still associated. Now, coming back to your point, yes, I when I started Zillion Pathways, already I had lost a major chunk of money in that advertising company. So I wouldn't say I was broke, but I had probably I did not have that much money to start something very big. So that is when I took help of uh, someone who came as a financer, right? And then I really wanted to do it in a quite big way, and almost I had decided, applied for a KHDA approval, which is required for education field. And we had seen a very nice location in Dubai Bank Street. And I just talked to the uh, real estate person, and I was about to go out with my checkbook to give the initial checks to him. And my wife asked me where I was going. Generally, she doesn't ask, because where would I go? I would go to office. Where else? So, but that day she asked me where was I going. So I said, obviously I'm going. But then she said, I heard something about your check and all. What are you up to? uh, I said, yeah, you know that I have started this, and we have to give the check. Then she said, have you not heard there is some virus in China and something like that? I said, oh, virus keep coming, so that will not stop our life. I don't know, with a real confidence or a kind of fear in her eyes, she said, "I think you have to wait." That's what she said. And probably for the first time, without even questioning her, I said, "Okay, if you so think, I will not go ahead." And I just changed my dress. I called the real estate person. I said, "I want 7 days time to decide." He asked me why. I said I am undecided. I did not tell him. I did not scare him with this, because that was in an initial stage in China. It was not even come to India and other places. Yeah, but I don't know what she, and that's the reason. If I have really saved a big chunk of money, thanks to my wife. So she was the one who stopped me.
Yeah.
And anyway, I went ahead with the KHDA approval, license, everything by the grace of God. You know how Dubai is, they always support new business and all. It seamlessly, luckily, I got complete approval from KHDA. We started, and when it started, by that time, the COVID became a big news, and a lot of things happened, which you also know.
Yeah.
But then we continued with online coaching. So we did not have a huge office or something. We had a decent office. From there, we started Zillion Pathways Coaching Institute, online platform only, not face to face. That is how we started during COVID time.
Right. So you were very close to starting a face-to-face physical one, but yeah, probably the intuition of your wife where it saved you from that. Now, I do want to talk about the points that you touched upon, the KHDA approvals and everything. Let's talk about that paperwork part, right? So, uh, to start a company in Dubai, one, of course, you need a trade license, so you need to apply for a license, and then in case of an education institute, you need the KHD approvals. Tell us about that. Like, what other documentation are required, and how did you go about that process? Did you hire a company to do this?
Yes, actually, for a KHDA approval, I hired a company, professional company, because again, see, when you ask so many people, you get so many different views and all. So people said, you don't do it on your own, so you better hire a company. So that is how I hired a company, because I did not want to take a chance. Later, I realized you really do not require a company to start a company in UAE. Everything, the system is in place. Okay, I think if you ask me, of course, I have not done business in many countries, but probably UAE is one of the easiest place to start a business, because the procedures are in place. Only if you know how to really follow those procedures. Okay, sometimes if you don't know, yes, you have to go through a professional company, which makes your job generally easy, but not necessarily. Okay, but in my case, yes, the company which I hired, they did a very good professional job, and I got the KHDA approval and then license. But now I usually do it myself, because the procedure are so simple. Anything, even visa, this most of the things, it is online. Everything, even most of the time, I do not require a PRO service also. Everything is instant. So if somebody wants to do business in UAE, I would say please go ahead and do it. It's so easy.
Yeah. Now, and one of the things that is required now when you apply for a business license, right, is a physical location, a commercial location for your place. Now, how does that work? Do you go for just find a place, take a place on rent, pay the rent, and get the ijari and things like that? Is that required, or do you just go apply for the business and then what comes first?
Before you get approval, you have to have a ijari, you have to have your own space, rented space or own space. So that is very important because there will be inspection. And even when you apply for a visa, there will be a labor inspection and all. These all come. So see, as long as you play by the rule, okay, everything is so simple. And I lived in Middle East for 31 years. And I do not remember I have broken any rules here. Okay, because whether it was Saudi or Bahrain or Dubai, UAE, these are the three countries I stayed. I clearly followed the law of the land, which is the mandatory, not because you are afraid. This is your prime duty. When you are in any country, you follow the rule of the country, which I always do. And here also I did it. Maybe there are some shortcuts people use, but I never used any shortcuts. Everything is legally done. Even today, whatever activities I do in Zillion Pathways, every single activity is approved by KHDA. And I wanted to start a branch in Sharjah. The first thing I did, I took approval from SPIA, which is like KHDA. This is in Sharjah. I took the approval from them. I have not started yet, which I am going to start. But this is what first things first. This is
Yeah.
what we do. I did the same thing. Sachin.
I didn't know that Sharjah has a separate KHD. I mean,
Yes,
similar to
education
KHDA.
authority. Yes, Sharjah
Okay.
has separate. Abu Dhabi has something called EDEC, that is separate again.
Okay.
Yeah, three Emirates have three different. This is for private education institute, so they come under them for private institute. So they come. So yeah, I hopefully someday I'll have to approach EDEC as well in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
There's a great.
So KHDA is the scope of KHDA is only within Dubai, right?
Yes, within Dubai. Yes.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
So you set up you did your paperwork, you did you got your place where you could, run as the office, and most of it was online. Tell us about Zillion Pathways. Then, how did you hire professors, trainers, or How did that go?
Yeah, Sachin, basically, as I told you, I had big plans when I started. I had a financer also, but unfortunately, because of COVID, the financer also said that I cannot continue because he also had his own reason. So I could not continue with that financer. So I had to run the company in whatever resources I had. Okay, it was a kind of like a tough time for me, but again by the grace of God, I had an employee who worked with me before, and she was with me throughout. My family always supported me, so that way I continued with this one. Hired some of the teachers. Again, since it was online, I didn't have to hire a lot of teachers for a full time, so I managed with that. And I'm starting a full-fledged face-to-face coaching institute. So now I need a lot of teachers, but I'm very careful while selecting the teachers. We do 2-3 rounds of interview. We make sure that the teachers are really up to the mark, and we have really good teachers. I'm very proud of them. They are there. I mean, let's hope that in coming days we will be one of the coaching institutes which people would talk about for all good reasons.
Absolutely. And even now, already, Zillion Pathways is quite popular in that, and people do. When you started, like just at the beginning of COVID, right? So, what kind of courses, or what did you offer at Zillion Pathways?
Yeah, in the beginning, our idea was to help the children, a 360-degree approach, kind of, help them in public speaking, leadership, as well as prepare them for entrance exams. When, up to 12th, it is fine, they have everything in school. However, uh, they have to have a good foundation if they really have to go to universities or the higher studies like IIT, IIM, or even Harvard, Oxford, MIT. These kind of institutes, they really have to have a very solid foundation in mathematics, science, or even if they want to do ACCA or CMA or chartered accountancy, they have to have accounts, all these backgrounds. So I'm not saying that whatever they learn in school is adequate, but there are much more to it, and that is where we help children to have some extra foundation in these core subjects. In addition to that, we help children to have an excellent proficiency in languages, like we have English, Hindi, Arabic, and French. We have excellent teachers who help children to even improve their language skills as well. This is how we started, and now we have started with the other entrance exams like IIT, JEE, NEET entrance exam preparations. We also do SAT, IELTS, TOEFL, GMAT, GRE. These kind of exams we prepare children. Okay, right now it is online, but very soon, of course, we time to time we do offline also if somebody is insisting. Hopefully within a month's time we are going to have full-fledged offline or an on-site platform for all these entrance exams as well. And one of our flagship, Sachin, you know that is my all-time favorite is public speaking and leadership. That
Yeah.
courses are going full house whenever I announce the courses. Full house online. Now we are going to start offline very soon.
Yeah, that public speaking and leadership is a very important skill, and that
Absolutely.
is and and great that you're in a way contributing towards building the future here, right, of the world, because you're creating the adults of tomorrow, because you're working on that. Now, Ronnie bhai, when we look at your life now as an entrepreneur, as the business owner, versus your earlier part of your career, where when you were an employee, what do you think is the difference? What is it that you love about being an entrepreneur?
That's one, as your title itself says, be your own boss. There is no better happiness than being your own boss. You can get up whenever you want to get up. You can go to bed whenever you want to go to bed. You can do whatever you want. So that is what you call be your own boss. Okay, jokes apart, Sachin, being an entrepreneur is a challenging thing, but you get a total satisfaction in that one. And now this is one of the things we also do for children as young as grade 9 grade students. We teach them how to think like an entrepreneur. What are the things required to be an entrepreneur at grade 9? See, I started thinking about being an entrepreneur when I crossed 40, 45, right? And some of the people have still not thought about it, but for today's children, this is what we are teaching. We are even now discussing with some schools in UAE that we will give them a complete coaching how to think like an entrepreneur, what is required for them to become entrepreneur. I have already discussing with some experts in this field, and we are forming a team where we will help the students to do that. In addition to that, Sachin, I just wanted to touch this subject. We also very clearly tell the students, parents, and teachers, nobody, I repeat, nobody should select a career, especially the student, without doing a proper assessment. Okay, during your time and my time, Sachin, we did not have anything called assessment. Professor Acharya said you
Yeah.
do MSc, I did. Somebody said you do medicine, I was waiting for a seat in medicine. So this is how our life went. But now there are scientific tools. When I say scientific tools, there are thousands of assessment companies, so one has to be very careful in selecting what is the best. So I do an assessment from one American company, which is one of the best in the world, not because I am trained in that one. I have tried many assessment companies, and I finally settled to this one. So, and I have done assessment for nearly maybe more than 1,000 children already. And by and large, every single student I have done assessment, the student and parents were happy that, yeah, thank God that you were there as our SPO. So, honestly, this is required. Otherwise, what happens, Sachin? Children will go, they select either because their parents said, or neighbor said, or teacher said, or something like that. So, teachers, I don't say teachers are wrong. They are seeing something in the student, so they advise. They are right. But then there are other things. It is not only the interest of a student. Yeah, he is interested to do something which is very important. Whatever they choose, they should enjoy. Fine. But there are something called innate skills. There are innate skills in children who probably they wouldn't know, something like emotional competency, something like intelligent competency, personality, your behavioral skills. All these things matter. It is not only your aptitude, there are a lot of things which matter. And this assessment I'm talking about, it contains everything. It gives a report which is a combination of everything. And then I and those who understand this report will have a clear picture what are the different fields where the child can do. This is how we do. And today there are many, Sachin, there are many companies which help get the admission in foreign universities. Good. I'm very happy that there are many. Okay, most of them are even doing it free. I am happy with that as well. But the point here is that they only help them select the university. They don't help them select the subject. What will it help to a student to go to the right university and choose a subject which is not meant for him?
Yeah.
Right, so this is very important, and that is the reason I educate every teacher, principal, student, parents. I say do a proper assessment, select the subject first. Once you select which stream you want to go based on all these things which I mentioned, then ultimately you select the university, but first select the stream, subject. That is the different thing which I do. And I advocate. Somebody comes and says I need a seat in so and so university, I say have you done an assessment test? That's what I say.
Yeah, so assessment is important to be able to choose the right field, the right school of studies to go for, right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
and Ronnie bhai, there is one more thing that I want to touch upon here. You're a Toastmaster, and tell us about that. How does Toastmaster help you in being an entrepreneur? Do you see a connection here?
Sachin, if I am what I am today, I owe a lot to Toastmasters International. Okay, as I told you, I started Toastmasters in 1992. Ever since I have been a Toastmaster, I have 31 years of experience in Toastmaster, and all the time I was a dual member minimum. Sometimes I was a member of 4 clubs. So even if you consider dual member for 31 years, I can say I have 62 years of experience in Toastmasters. Anyway, that is apart. Yes, Toastmasters is a great platform which has helped me in improving my communication skills. Not only that, it has helped me even to improve my leadership skills, and I got good connections. Today I know people from all walks of life, thanks to Toastmasters. There are thousands of Toastmasters within Middle East itself. So I really owe a lot to Toastmasters.
Yeah. And connections, look at us, right? We know each other through Toastmasters. This is
Yeah,
also what we are doing today is possible because of Toastmasters. And
absolutely.
yeah, so you do recommend that people do join Toastmasters because it helps you develop your communication, your leadership skills, and network with people, right?
100%, Sachin. Before that, when I do my even public speaking training to young adults, I introduce them to Gavel Club, okay, which is a part of Toastmasters. Young children will. I very clearly tell them I'm a Toastmaster. Learn from Toastmasters. Of course, my courses are not copied from Toastmasters manual. For your information, it's my own. What I have learned from Toastmaster, I have made my own courses. We have 4 different courses. One is called Master Public Speaker, then we have Champion Public Speaker, then we have Champion Debater, and then we have Self Reformation. These 4 courses, which was designed by me with the help of some very good professionals, and some of the world champions also come and help children. Okay, some of them are my friends, and some of them I hire in these Toastmasters. This, and they give a proper. But what I am trying to say here, when I give these public speaking courses, I very clearly say I will give you on platter what I learned in 31 years and with my experience. But don't stop here. After this, you go and join a Gavel Club. or at least if you don't want to join, I very much insist they join a gavel club. If not, at least take every single opportunity you get and go on the stage and speak, or create your own opportunities to speak. That is what I advise the young kids.
Yeah, that's very important. The public speaking skills, leadership skills. Now, Ronnie, bhai, let's have a quick moment of reflection here, looking at your journey, right from when you came to Bombay and then you went to Rajkot to as a medical representative, to the businessman that you are today, the educator that you are today, the motivational speaker that you are today. When you look at this, who would you like to give the credit for your success to?
First, credit to Almighty God. That's the first. Then obviously my family, my parents, my siblings, my teachers, as I told you, my teachers, and all those who I came across. I have mentioned some names obviously, but they were not all. There were thousands of students whom I have come across. Some way or the other, they have created a memory. They have influenced my life. So generally, I take everything and then I choose what is the best. So I would give credit to everyone whom I came across, even if I have learned some lessons which are lessons for life. I even give them credit because one place I was not successful in business. They taught me lesson, right? And
Absolutely.
I really owe a lot to them. Okay, I have nothing against them. Okay, and trust me, those whoever has actually are responsible for a so-called failure of mine, I still believe that they did not do it deliberately. This is what I believe, and that gives me peace of mind. They did not do it deliberately. I'm still in touch with them. Whenever possible, I still try to help them. I have no problem with that. And I owe a lot to everyone whom I came across.
That's wonderful, Ronnie bhai. Now, for the people, for the listeners who are at that starting point when you were back in, just before COVID, when you were at that point, turning point where you wanted to quit your job and you wanted to start your business, right? There are people who are at that stage right now and would like to start something in the, something similar to education or public speaking or something like this kind of a business that you did. What would be your advice to them?
Sachin, if anyone would like to start something in related to education, I would support them fully, 100%. There is no doubt about it. But it is very important to understand the roadmap. What is the ultimate goal? What exactly you want to achieve? Like, for example, in our case, Zillion Pathways, it's very simple. We want to help the children as young as maybe 9 year old and take them forward till they decide their career, decide the path of their career, then they go to further studies till they reach to the right university or institution, and even beyond that, when they become employees, if still they want to become a training, like we have a division of corporate training, even there we will help. So in a nutshell, we are here to help whoever wants to become successful, including anyone who would like to become an entrepreneur. We have a complete success formula for them. Again, we can guide them. It is up to them to go and achieve it. So that way,
Brilliant. Yeah.
definitely anybody can approach me and I'll be more than happy to guide them.
Very nice. Ronnie bhai, we will transition a little bit into a lighter note here. Tell us about your weekend or the day off when when you don't go to Zillion Pathways, don't do. What does your weekend look like? What do you do?
That's a good question, Sachin. See, there are pros and cons for everything, right? So when I say I'm an entrepreneur, okay, there were times like, especially when I was working in a company like Saudi Aramco, their weekends are real weekends. You don't have anything else to do, right? So these 5 years, my weekends were perfect weekends. But then I came to sales and marketing, where we can still, I think about the business. I still think about what will happen tomorrow, competition, that even in holidays I did that. Now I became an entrepreneur. Now honestly, I don't have a clear weekends. Okay, on weekend also I dream about how to go to the next step, what to do, how I can help the students a little more than what I am doing. This is always in my mind. So I still, of course, I give time to family, but definitely not undivided attention to family. This is mainly because I'm in an initial stage, and because of COVID things were different. Now post COVID era we are in, things are different, so I have to do a lot of hard work. So that is taking a lot of my time, to be honest. Yesterday, just for your information, I probably worked for 16 hours. I went to Abu Dhabi 5:30. I started from Sharjah, went, had 6 meetings altogether. By the time I came back, it was 9:30 in the night. So this time, and I enjoy, and I really thank my wife and my son. They don't complain for me doing this. So yes, the pros and cons. Okay, someday I dream I probably will have a time where I'm an entrepreneur, where I have a full team who is working for me, and I will only go and advise them and see if everything is fine. I hope someday I will be like that, but still, I'm a workaholic person. I will still continue to work, and I enjoy that, Sachin.
Yeah. And other than work, what kind of leisure? Sometimes whenever if when you do take out time, like movies or something.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things, generally we do not miss any Bollywood movies if we know that they are good, and we watch them in theater only. We don't watch on other Netflix or something. Of course, maybe my wife and son again watch them again probably, but I watch any greatest movie also. I watch only once, and that is in theater. This we do. This we always do. Probably you have seen all the latest Bollywood movies. The last one is Pathan. So yes, that is one leisure, and also we have seen all amusement parks here, and some of them like Ferrari World, and we must have visited at least 10, 15 times already. Okay, because whenever we get our relatives, so obviously we take them, and we don't have a choice, so we have to go with them. So that's the reason. Yes, these leisure things keep happening, so we enjoy that as well.
Nice, nice. So, Ronnie bhai, as we come to a close here, one final question, and it's an important one. How do people reach out to Zillion Pathways students, parents who would like to enroll and get coached and career guidance from you, the assessments and everything?
Yeah, the best way is we have a website, www.zillionpathways.com. They can reach, or in the website, we have all the numbers. We have email, we have telephone numbers, we have our support staff also. They can call any one of them. All the numbers are there. And also, sometimes schools also approach us for assessments and things like. And we have tied up with many schools in UAE. And I have to really salute some of the principals who have gone out of the way to support, because the moment they have realized that we have this assessment and these kind of tools which not many coaching institutes have, they have literally they have supported us, and they are, it is a word of mouth. I mean, I'm not saying that the schools have made it compulsory, but the schools have really given a publicity about it, and that is how to these days I end up having 5 6 assessments every day. Okay, a minimum, and 5 6 assessments means at least 6 hours of counseling as well to the students.
Yeah.
These kind of things happen, and I really enjoy, and I'm very happy that I'm making a big impact in the lives of young kids who are looking for their perfect career.
Yeah, absolutely. Then thank you so much for doing that, because this is very very important. You're creating,
Thank you,
like
sir.
I mentioned, that you're creating the future. So, Ronnie bhai, thank you so much for taking out time and joining us here on the Be Your Own Boss podcast.
Thank you so much, Sachin. Thank you very much. Appreciate having me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was Ronald Olivera, the founder of Zillion Pathways, and you've been listening to Be Your Own Boss.